Hello, and welcome to a Thornwillow Press unboxing. No, this is not the Dispatch title, although it is a Dispatch title. This was actually the October Dispatch title. Oh, look at that. Mine's in Spanish. Muchas gracias. We got a bookmark as well. This was the October title. These are the Meditations of My Heart by Tom Hanks, which I did do the unboxing for. But I'm not going to lie, the idea of a signed Tom Hanks letterpress printed booklet really was keeping me up at night. And, well, they listed them online, so I decided I'm going to treat myself to a patron edition. So this, my friends, is the patron edition of These Are the Meditations of My Heart by Tom Hanks, which was the October Dispatch title, which should be signed by Tom Hanks. Right there. Look at that. How about that? I admittedly have not actually read this short story yet, even though I did have the October edition, the classic edition. But I've heard he's an interesting writer. It seems interesting. I love the fact that it's got all these different typesets, which was either a lot of fun to print letterpress or a pain in the ass to print letterpress. I'm leaning with the latter. Because they're like, all right, Jim, now you got to pull out the Geneva. You got to pull out the different typeset. Now we got to go back to the Times New Roman. Bust out the Ashtabula. All the sorts of different, font types. Could have been a nightmare. Who's to say? Hermes 2000. But anyways, it is very much a love letter to typesets and a love letter to typewriters. And it's a story that inspired or pays homage to Tom Hanks's love of typewriters. So this is the Patron edition, which is limited to 200 copies, printed on birch antique vellum paper, bound in the deluxe paper wrappers. 36 copies are printed on birch antique vellum and bound in half cloth. Those ones are also signed by Tom Hanks, as well as Luke Ives Pontefeld right here on the back. Very, very nice. And then, of course, there is the Classic Edition, which is printed on cream white felt paper and bound in letterpress wrappers, which I do have. I actually have right here. So, boom. Look at that. We have the Classic Edition. We have the Patron Edition. Recently, just a few months ago, they, being Thornwillow, has gotten back into using paste paper wrappers for the Patron Editions, which is really cool. This is obviously not a paste paper wrapper. This is a nice letterpress printed wrapper, still very nice. Which it makes sense though with the typewriter motif. You don't want somebody just doing some paste paper when you have something thematic you can use. But wow, I mean, it's very interesting. The paper, it's wafty. That's not even the right word for it. That you're probably like rolling your eyes. What the hell does that mean? It feels lightweight, but not in a cheap way. It feels airy. It's nice paper. This is like the Classic Edition actually has the heavier paper stock. This actually feels creamier. You can feel a texture to it. You don't really get that with the Patron Edition, but the Patron Edition is birch vellum, antique birch vellum, which makes sense. So this is the nicer paper stock. It might not feel heavier. It might be feel lighter. More fragile, if you will, but it still feels nice. You're not grabbing the paper just for its weight, not just for its heft. But it's interesting. How do these look side by side? Let's see if we can see. I mean, you can see the different color of the paper, for one thing. I'm trying to see if I imagine that the Classic Edition is probably a smidge wider in terms of the paper. But you have to really bust out like a millimeter ruler if you were to check that. So as of, I didn't check this morning, but as of right now, there were still copies available, both editions available through Thornwillow Press. Link in the description below to that page where you can potentially pick up a copy of the Patron Edition signed by Tom Hanks. But be warned, they being Thornwillow, do use dynamic pricing probably isn't the right word for it, because dynamic implies that, it go up or go down. But as their stock dwindles, if they have like 200 for sale, you might be paying one price. But as the stock dwindles and goes down, the price does go up as it becomes more and more rare to their website. So if you want a signed Tom Hanks letterpress printed chapbook, I don't know if it can be considered a chapbook, but a letterpress printed short story in tiny little book formats, you might want to act now before the price does go up. Because I imagine it will go up, especially being signed by Hanks himself. The Classic Edition should still be relatively cheap. I will admit I'm probably not going to keep both of them. I'm going to keep the Patron Edition. I might sell the Classic Edition, just because, well, space is limited. You got to try to condense a little bit here. Got to save room when I can. Yeah, there's page by page, 15 by 15, kind of showing you the different color of the two pages. Very interesting. So you got to keep the nicer edition. You know what I mean? So anyways, that is the Patron edition of These Are the Meditations of My Heart by Tom Hanks, currently available through Thornwillow Press. The Patron edition and the Classic edition are available, or were available on the website. They should still be available. You can sign up for the dispatch if you would like. There are 3 different tiers to sign up. There is the Classic Dispatch, which costs, I think, $45 a month now. Comes with the Classic Edition, plus a bunch of other letterpress goodies. You can check out that video on my channel if you want to see those goodies for yourself. Next tier up, which is now over $100 a month. I don't really subscribe to that one, is the Patron Edition. Gets you both chapbooks of whatever that month's title is, not this specific chapbook, plus those other goodies. And then huge jump to, I think, like $300 a month. You get the hardcover half cloth edition, plus a Classic edition, plus the other goodies. Whenever they can, the authors will sign the Patron or Centaur edition, which is the highest edition. Sometimes, like in the case of Haruki Murakami, he only signs the Centaur editions. Speaking of which, if you happen to have a Centaur edition of Super Frog Saves Tokyo, and you're like, hey, I will gladly sell this for close to list price, you should definitely hit me up, because I would buy that. Because I would love a signed Murakami book, but I am not going to be able to find one for that price. Just not going to happen, which is a shame. But anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. I am subscribed to the monthly dispatch from Thornwillow, so please subscribe to the channel, and you can actually check out those monthly Thornwillow unboxings. Plus, I have plenty of other unboxings in between here and there as well, including one coming up from No Reply Press, which actually I just unboxed that right before doing this. I might actually upload it before this one, so actually, I just did one by No Reply Press. That you can check out on my page, which is nice letterpress goodies as well. Although Griffin focuses on more extravagant productions. So I'm talking very fancier binding types, larger titles and such. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. Please check out Thornwillow Press. Please consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll see you around next time.